All right, welcome back, everybody. Another week down. Another week down. We are here. We made it. We made it. We made it. We made it. Another week. What's going on, old man? What's going
Hey,
on?
nothing much here. Hey, a little bit of rain right now in the ATL, but everything's bright and sunny here.
Bright and
What's
sunny.
going on? That's right. That's
Mm,
right.
okay. Okay. Well, nothing is going on over here. Just wanted to make sure that
See,
you're
I
okay making
know.
another week because
I know.
you up there, you up there. So I just wanted to make sure you still with us. You know what I mean? Didn't have to call anybody to come get you, anything like that.
No, the paramedics. You didn't have to call the paramedics. Everything's good here. The heart's still pumping. That's all right. That's all
Okay,
right.
okay. Well, it's just a good week. Another week down. We got some interesting things to talk about today.
Absolutely.
The first of which, well, I guess we can just go ahead and start it off since the ATL. There's a bit of a higher standard as far as living. So what do you, as far as living there, I guess would be the thing. How do you manage your money? Because I used to live there a while back as well. But how do you go about managing your money in a place like that, as far as like trying to make sure you have enough to do what you got to do and also possibly enjoy yourself or whatever the case may be?
But what is money management? I mean, uh, managing money, nobody really cares to hear about that or wonders, you know, where it comes from and how to do it. But they love spending.
Right.
I mean, that's money management. That's what probably most of the people around, and I would used to be that way as well. Money management was I made it, I spend it.
Spend it. Yep. I got it. I
How's
spend
the
it.
youth? How's the youth look at it? I
I
mean,
mean, it's nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. It's just do you how much of it do you have? That's basically the only thing that changes. How much do you have, and if you flaunt it if you got it. That's basically
that,
the
that
trend nowadays. So
it is still the trend. It's
yeah,
still the trend. It's probably even worse now than the day because you got means to spend it. You can go
right.
online and spend it. Before you had to horse and carriage and go out and get.
I don't know about all that. I don't know about horse and
But
carriage. Maybe
I'm just
maybe
saying. I'm
maybe
just saying.
back there in your day when you had to send a pigeon to communicate with somebody or something
Oh
like.
man, no! If a pigeon, flew to somebody's house and usually kill it and cook it.
Oh, okay.
So no pigeon, no pigeons, no pigeons. But no, it's a market here. You got consumers. You just it's as far as I see it, it's consumer based.
Mhm.
People just spending money like it's going out of style.
Right. Well,
Hey,
but I guess I guess when it comes down to it, well, how do you budget for that though? Because the cost of living is very high over there, uh, because of the city, high profile city and things like that. Any city that is well built or well established is going to have a high cost of living. So how do you prepare or go around budgeting for that cost of living?
they don't. They don't. I'm gonna ask you a simple question.
Mm.
What is budgeting to the youth?
Mm, to be honest, I don't think we know a whole lot of budgeting because that circles back to what I was saying with the last episode we were on. That kind of stuff wasn't really taught to us. It's kind of we have to learn as we go. Essentially, we're the pioneers, so to speak, for all this stuff. Because now the
First
young
time budgeters.
even for
First
now
time.
the younger generation is getting these classes where they can budget and credit and everything like that. But we didn't have that. So
Great. That's a good thing though.
yeah,
But for us, we didn't get it either.
right.
I can't give you anything I didn't get. But um, I had to learn.
Mhm.
It came down the line. Um, but if you mentioned budget,
Mhm.
setting up a budget, what would you think when I ask you that? Do you have a budget? People like to ask you that question. Especially educated
Right.
people.
Right.
Do you have a budget?
Right. Well, budget to me is just how much. Well, how much are you able to spend?
Mhm.
Essentially, without how much are you able to spend without it
Right.
putting you in a hole or hurting your pockets.
And okay, I'm sorry.
No, no, no. What were you about to say?
No, no. But that's basically it. That's what people. If you ask someone about a budget, they would say, "Let me see how much I can spend."
Mm,
But a budget covers you know a broader area than that. What you can spend, what you need to save, what you need to invest. Um, emergencies, things like that. It covers a broad spectrum of things. And I was the same way. I bel- my budget was I get paid, what can I buy?
mm. Well, how's that changed between well, I guess then and now? Because again, because the perspective is you're the no. So
Right.
how has that changed for you compared to well, I'll get into what it's for me
Oh,
after you're done giving
okay.
your viewpoint.
For me, when it hit me, I spent for lack of knowledge, there's a cost associated with that.
Mhm.
So to get to the point where I realize with budgeting and what it can do for me, I've lost a lot of my um, future assets, future that money that works for you.
Right.
While you sleep. I always preach that. I lost a lot of compound interest in a sense. But my budgeting came down to a simple format. You got these computer programs you could put in. They say, well, this is a budgeting app, and you can go to these online or whatever these um, the stores to buy books
Mm,
about budgeting, how to track it, and all that stuff. That didn't work for me. It's too much work. It's and the normal person couldn't do that. So I just simplified it. A notebook, a pen, and said, "This is what I make, and this is what I pay out." And I started from there. Um, Nothing major, nothing. Every time I got paid, I write it down, and all my bills. What was left over, I have to decide what that is. So, and at first, that was nothing left. So now I'm going to cheat somebody down the line to say somebody's going to fall short, but it's not going to be me.
right.
Wrong attitude. Was- that's the start of my philosophy. How would how do younger people deal with that type of situation?
Well, the younger
All
people,
right.
that's a loaded question. I mean, it's so many different things that come with that. It just depends on where you're living, of course, where you live in the job that you have,
Mhm.
because all of that is shifting constantly as time goes on. So when you first come out of college, you're not necessarily going to have that job that you may have studied for, which will impact your budget essentially as far as where you're trying to live. And then with that, trying to live, it all incorporates back into what we were talking about originally, like splitting bills and things like that. But if you're living on your own in a high profile city, it's going
One
to
person.
it's going to be pretty rough uh making it so to speak. So essentially you either rooming up, uh, the pathway now is you roommate with somebody as far as the young people's budgeting. You roommate with somebody until you build up enough money to either move out on your own, or you have somebody else, a significant other, with you, and then you both move out and get your own place or whatever the case may be. But that is the young person's budgeting.
Okay.
Young person's budgeting.
But is that so? Did you sit down and say, "Well, I room with someone, write it down, you know, apples and oranges, comparing, say,
I would say no, because when you're rooming with somebody, you drop the rent significantly, so you don't even think about putting that money aside for something else. Because when you're younger, or our generation, when you were younger,
that's right.
we just put it aside and just like, okay, let's go out Friday and party and BS, do whatever we need to do. But of course, all that catches up to you as you get older. So those are
Yeah.
missed opportunities. Uh, Once you get to a point of where you're starting to not necessarily look back, but you're looking forward to other things, like maybe kids, or getting a bigger house or moving somewhere else.
Yeah. Or getting a house that you don't need a roommate.
Right. So you can exactly. Exactly.
Right. And that's the importance of budgeting. It's what you don't do. Budgeting allows you to prepare for the future.
Mm,
I'm talking about money management as a whole. Let me rephrase that. Money management as a whole allows you to prepare for the future. Budgeting is the first part of that. And if you don't do that, you're spending your future away.
right.
Whenever you start doing it, that's when your future starts. Because, like you said, hey, I'm gonna enjoy myself and like I did, I enjoyed myself. Um, you know, and it's that big thing in the sky, time, time. And the sooner you realize how your money can work for you, the better off you are.
Right.
You know,
So when you talk about money working for you, obviously we're referring to investing. So how
mhm.
would, from your perspective, or when, I guess, in your age bracket, your graceful age,
This
uh
beautiful age. This
what is your thought process on investing, or
investing, it's for like I said in the previous pod, the sooner you start, the better.
Mhm,
And it doesn't take a lot of money. And and what investing provides for you, and which I realized is you you put it in a savings account, that's not going to beat inflation. But when you invest, investing allows you opportunity that your investment can beat what inflation. Like you mentioned, he was like, oh, 30 years from now, 10 years from now, the cost of living is going to be X.
right.
But if you're investing, your investment's going to move with that, or probably sometimes surpass that.
Go
So,
ahead.
no, no, no. So that's why I encourage investing.
Would you say it's easier to invest for your demographic now than it does for us? Because I know for us, there's so many different things, like quick money making, like the
Oh,
NFTs.
mining coins? No.
Yeah, exactly. So when you
Yeah.
say investing, it is a jungle essentially for us to wade through. I know you have your typical, Nasdaq and stocks and everything like that, but now there's more stuff added to the pot as far as what to invest in, because there's more things being created. So
Yeah, creative. I agree with that. It's creative.
it's, but I mean, it works from what I've seen. I mean, granted, there's some of them probably going to jail, but it gets it gets a lot harder for my generation to figure out what to invest in because there's so much more now. I would say compared to, I would assume when you were younger, or
That's right. That's right. I promise you, I'm telling you, I've seen companies from nothing to billions and didn't get involved. But that that and then you got companies that has been proven before I was even born. You know, certain stocks and investments are out there that are proven time and time again to beat inflation. But you got to have the money to invest in those companies.
right.
So if you take your hard earned dollars, don't budget, which and I hate to bounce back all the way back to the beginning, but money management, the foundation of money management is to have money. You don't have the money, you don't need to manage anything.
Hmm.
If you owe everybody, you have nothing to manage. They're managing it for you. That's why they're billionaires. What I'm saying is, once you get money at a certain point to manage, you need to beat inflation. Those investments, like you were saying, what to invest in, you got to invest in companies that are established, that time and time again, they show that they make their stockholders money. I will not invest in a mining thing that I don't understand. These Bitcoin, that's me.
Uh-huh.
That is me because
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
Hmm. I understand
That
that, but that's what we have to deal with now. As far
right.
as my generation, we have to deal with that. So it's a little bit more difficult to decide what to invest in. I mean, yeah, you have what you say, the old and busted, and then the new
That's right.
hotness. So
That's
we're sitting here looking at the new hotness, trying to figure it out. Yeah, we know we have the tried and true over here, but we're not worried about that because we can always fall back on that. So I would say my generation looks more of like the NFTs and how can we, well, how to get rich quick, essentially. Um, so what do we invest in now to get us that money as soon as possible?
Can you repeat what you want again? I'll just
No, I was saying we have to deal with more in the water, essentially. Yeah, you know, the NFTs, the Bitcoin mining, paying with Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, all that stuff. When it comes to investing, I feel like our generation is more looking towards what gets us rich quicker than the long term. But just from my opinion, from what I've seen. So it's not so much, we know we have the you know the established, the well established, you know, the stuff from back in the old days with the cart horse pulling and everything like that. But we're looking
no,
at
there ain't
the
no car horse.
we're looking at the right here, right now. Oh, this thing is booming. Let's invest into that, get us a couple quick bucks, and then get out.
No, no, I agree. I agree. But don't put anything there. This is what I would do. I wouldn't put anything there that I don't mind losing. Like you said, it comes and goes. You can lose a lot as well. I
Mm.
wouldn't say I'm just going to bank on this. I'm looking for the yeah, and which a lot of people doing. I'm looking for the next Amazon. I'm looking for the next Facebook. I'm looking, and if you get caught up in that, that could bite you. Me, I'm just saying if if that horse is pulling that carriage and it's consistent doing 10% return, I'm gonna stick with that old horse. Why would I stick with this train that might go, speeding down the track for a little while and then derail
Mm.
and I lose everything?
Okay.
And the thing about it, being a you at you got time to, hey, I can work it. I can let it work. I can let that 10% work for me. But you try to put all your eggs in that basket, you can lose it all. Spread it out. Spread it out. Let it, just don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Mm.
I mean, I, hey, that mining, these bitcoins and trinkets, hey, I'm not going there. I mean, people do it. Hey, I'm good. Hey, I hear the numbers. Awesome, awesome. That's old people in technology. That's how it works. That's right.
You stick to what you know, essentially. Stick to
That's
what you
right.
know.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. I mean, so with that said, putting in to the tried and true, would you say should have an emergency backup fund if you can manage that? Because of course, money managing, gotta have the money. If you don't have the money, you can't spend it.
That's right.
But in today's topic, we're going off the assumption that we do have the money. So would you say that from your no perspective, would you have that emergency fund, your what's the safety net as they call it?
Yeah, absolutely. You have to have that because what I'm saying is anything come up, any unforeseen illness, um, just car, whatever car, needs repair,
Mm,
home repair. You got to get that money from somewhere. I don't want to pull for my investment to take care of that. I want to have at least 3 to 6 months worth of reserve
mm.
to take care if I lose my job. And that way I can use the rest for investments.
Yeah.
Now, how would the youth look at that? How would you look at it? You probably just need a month, right? I mean, I need a week.
A
That's all
lot
I
of
need. I
us,
need a
yeah, a
few
lot of
dollars in
us
my
are on that.
pocket.
We only need a month. There's always going to be a job for us. I'm young. I can do whatever. I'm immortal, essentially. Uh,
The next payday.
exactly, exactly. Uh, so we don't necessarily look at the long term, 3 to 6 months out, having a source of income for that. It's more so, okay, well, I'm just going to leave my job. Mostly it's leaving your job because we're not happy. A lot of us, as you've seen in the news, so there's no fun to necessarily be had. Granted, you could still, save some, but with everyone wanting to be happy with their employment now, a lot of it is just I'm going to work for whatever makes me happy. F the emergency fund or whatever the case may be. Uh, so so that movement is currently going on right now. Uh, so there's not a whole lot of emergency funds being saved. Because like I said, we're looking at it like it doesn't. I'm just gonna work a job that makes me happy, or I can get a job whenever I want. People are always going to be hiring, or whatever the case may be.
um, I guess. I mean, that's the perspective, and I do see that. That's not the perspective that I grew up under. Uh, you jobs not always going to be there,
Hmm.
especially the good ones. Um, Careers are not always going to be there. It's a different time, though. It's a different time. I get it. Um, and then you got responsibility. I'm not going to take a chance on what might happen or what might be out there.
Mm.
I believe in what I have. What I have is what I have. But I get it. I get it because it is different now. Mm. But the old school method doesn't correlate with the new. And in that process, you have a lot of people in management still there with the old school method, old school mindset. You know, like, hey, I I expect them not to be here long, and I don't know if that's a good thing.
Mhm.
And that's why I think emergency funds are probably more so for the youth than old school, because because you think about it. If you say you don't like a job and you see a better offer, and then if that offer is retracted, what you going to do? You can't go back.
Mhm.
Maybe you can't go back. What are you going to do? So you definitely need emergency fund to carry you until you get that process. You know, whatever new
Mhm.
job in place.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I think, especially in your situation, being younger, you definitely need it. Especially if you're looking at the job in that way. If you don't like it, or if you got options, options change.
Right.
You know,
But once that goes back to there being a lot of different opportunities available now, compared to how it may have been 20 years ago, or 1,000 years ago in your case. But uh,
that's right. That's right.
yeah,
Hey, 1,000. Okay.
I'm just calling it like I see it. Uh, but I guess that brings up another good point, because I know I definitely don't think about this, and I'm pretty sure a lot of my generation does not think about this, is life insurance. Because everybody has to go at some point. You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
So with us being thinking that we're immortal, and we can do whatever, which, and I'm sure a majority of us can do whatever, but I know we're not all immortal. Uh,
That's right.
I think it really starts setting in once you see someone in your bracket pass away. I think that's when the reality sets in. That it's like, oh, maybe this should be serious. But before then, that's out of sight, out of mind. Like, you're not thinking about
Right.
life insurance or the end
Especially
game.
in your age group, y'all
Exactly.
dying faster than we are. I mean, you see it on TV every day.
Yep.
Your guys are going faster than we are.
Yeah. So that's what I was saying. It's just like when you see someone in your bracket go, it's just like, oh, well, maybe I should look at something like this, and potentially look at it. But what are your thoughts on that, or how would you say you should go about that? Because I know there's a lot of commercials be like, oh, life insurance, $5 a month, or whatever the case may be. But I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
just throwing something out there.
right, right. When I grew up, um, I mean, this is not like my mother, but being a little kid,
Mm,
there was just guys walk around and insurance guys walk around and pick up premiums, pick up the money,
mm,
the clients. And they came to the house with a book. They paid them cash. They write it in the book, and I'm serious. These are great grandparents, great grands, mothers, and fathers paid these premiums for years, and then I mean, it's not funny, but it ended up they've been paying these things $200 or $100 for years for a $2,000 policy.
mhm,
$2,000. 30, 40 years paying hundreds, 40, 50, $60 a month for a policy that's worth $2,000. Not even enough to bury him. That, it's sad. That's the importance of adequate life insurance. Now, today, they don't even have it. Just use GoFundMe. That's the
Uh,
you. That's the youth
yeah,
mindset. That's the
you're not
youth
wrong.
mindset.
You're
The
not wrong
youth
about that.
mindset.
You're not wrong about that. GoFundMe or Patreon or something like that. Yep,
That's right.
you're not wrong.
That's right. That's right. And you know, I look back on it. You know, you don't look back on it with the grands, the great grandmothers, great grandfathers, and all that stuff, paying all that money. But at least they did something. They thought they were doing the right thing. $2,000 policy was for them was enough.
Mm,
But time went on, and but if they would just save that money, they'd have had enough to bury themselves and probably take care of 4 or 5 families.
mm,
But at least they did it. The new thing now with the GoFundMe, not knocking it, but they're not even thinking about it. I mean, your young guys, are you thinking about it,
I
or
can honestly
what's
say
going on?
no. We're not thinking about it at all because that is
No, that can't happen to me.
exactly.
I live forever. I'm
Exactly. We that is the furthest thing in our mind as far as life insurance, because there's so many other things we focus on. Well, mostly career wise, I would say is the first thing. We focus on our career first. Majority of the people that I've spoken with are more career driven than anything, and then once they get the career, be it whatever age they might be, then they look at the other things to finalize their chessboard essentially. Uh, so looking at life insurance as a person in my age bracket or younger, no, not at all. Not at all. All they see is the only thing I can tell you about life insurance is that you can send $5 a month and get a $60,000 policy, and that's from the commercials that I see on TV. And that was what 7 years ago, so it might have changed since then.
I changed. But the thing about it is, it's a lot of things you can do with that. And as you see that the young are dying just like the old. And they just don't have the money to pay for the funeral costs. And it's sad, but it's true. I mean, I I've seen newscasts and all that. I see the mothers and fathers, grandparents standing there talking about their lost loved one. Um, so I think the youth and even the parents of those people, life insurance is very important. And the thing about it is that peace of mind. Um, it, and then this is the big caveat: you get it for a cheaper rate. The older you get, the more it costs. I mean, you can get it cheap now. At your age, you get it cheap. I have to pay a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's better for you to get it now than wait because it's going to cost you more. And we talk about money management. That goes against everything we're trying to do. So I mean, how you look at that? I mean, how you see that? You know, does that make sense?
Oh no, it makes plenty of sense, but it's one of those things where you have to have a genuine sit down and talk with granted it might even have to be a beat over the head because we're typically hard-headed. A lot of us are typically hard-headed, I will admit that.
Man,
We're typically hard-headed, and it's gonna take
two thumbs up.
it's gonna take a genuine sit down and
Right.
and have an actual discussion about it
Yeah.
to bring light on that situation or that that particular thing. And that just goes with anything that someone from your generation, being back in the BC era, may have to instill upon us. You know,
But you know what? We accept it. Um, and I get it. Being young, and I was there.
Uh,
You might not believe that.
yeah.
You might not believe that, but I
I
was.
don't know about
Uh,
that.
but I thought I was invincible. I was thinking about whatever, insurance. and I did get it, but it wasn't, thinking that I got to worry about taking care, somebody or family or a house or whatever. But when once you start getting older, and then you start seeing people, even the ones that you kind of like expect, the older generation as they age and progress on to the other side. But now you start seeing youth dying. You start seeing people under you, and then you realize your mortality. You have to look at it. You
Mm,
have to look at what I, what do I want my family or people I care about. Do I want to make it hard on them? Do I want to make it easy on them? And that's what, like, generational wealth. A lot of times people don't leave anything behind. Only thing they can leave is the life insurance policy.
mm,
Just say, hey, I blow everything, but I'm gonna pay that insurance policy. So if I leave here, at least my kids have something when I'm gone. I think, even being young, you need to think that way. You need to get focused in that to say, what am I going to leave behind? Debt, you know, hey, debt take care of itself. But what are you going to leave your family? Do you want that on them?
right.
You know, and that's major. That's major because as much GoFundMe's I've seen on TV, and I'm not making light of it. Those people didn't think about that, and it's sad. It's sad because they could have got something in place at a cheaper price because the kids were young. So what I'm saying is, the younger you are, it's not a big cost to
Right.
get life insurance.
Right. Yeah. And I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, but we're not thinking about life insurance.
Live
Not
forever.
not we're not thinking about life insurance. Absolutely not. No, we're partying and BSing, making our money, get it how we spend it, going on trips and everything like that.
That's right.
That is the last thing we are thinking about. Uh as far as what to leave behind. Now when you have kids, oh yeah, then I think that's when that shift starts to occur, and then you're looking at life insurance and everything, because your kids typically are your legacy. Depending on how you look at it, because some people look at it different ways, but uh your kids tend to be your legacy, and you want to leave something behind for them if you're not already, swimming in money or whatever the case may be.
That's right. You can make that premium. You can make that payment
Right.
at, at least, even if they don't even know about it. You can at least make that payment. It, I just, it's just being responsible. That's how I take it. And for, like I said, my great grandmothers and great grandfathers and all that stuff, paying probably $100,000 for a $2,000 policy, that, but they felt they were doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing something. I'm not saying it was right. They could have saved that money, invested it, but they know what they know. Now we're talking about stuff that, and we're expressing and talking about the the gap between youth and people of my age that are even younger than you.
Younger than
That's
okay.
that
Uh,
that that we need to evolve a little bit more. We need to grow. We need to grow. You need to start looking outside of that, and 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 that's part of survival. Like you said, if you don't adapt, if you don't evolve and come, adapt to new things and new ideas, what's going to happen?
right. Like I
You
said, if
know,
you can't swim, you bound to drown.
that's right. Uh,
So
uh, and it seems like a consistent, not, you know, how many how many times I need to see on TV that people can't bury their loved one
Mhm.
to realize how important life insurance. And and if you get it on your kids, it's real cheap.
Right. But do you
But
think that's something that should be this once again ties back to the last
mhm,
episode, things that we aren't taught. Nobody taught us about life insurance. Nobody talked about that cuz like I said, we're in high school, college, immortal, go out and party. Nobody's discussing that. They're just trying to get the degree, keep it moving or whatever the case may be. Uh so do you think that should be something that is part of a curriculum or taught, or is that on the next generation to teach the younger ones? Essentially is that on you to teach the next generation for them, and is that on me to teach my next generation? Or what do you think about that?
I think, just that the importance of it needs to be established.
Mm,
Um, it just when you got to look at the big picture. If something happens to you, and things happen, you know, things happen. People here today, gone tomorrow. And and listen, I'm talking personal now. My mother, she's passed away. She told me. I mean, looked me dead in my eye and said, "Go ahead, put some insurance on me." You know how I looked at that? I said, "No, I'm not going to put no insurance on my mother." You know why? Because I felt that would be doing her disservice, like waiting on her to die or something like
right,
that to benefit from it.
right.
This is just me. I'm being real.
No,
All seriousness.
I think
But
all
you know what I did? I
mm,
didn't do it.
right.
I didn't do it. But I understood because she realized what that money, if I put the right policy on her, what it could do generations down.
Mm,
I deprived her of a wish that I should have done.
mm,
You know what? How much I could have helped my family and people that she, loved and care about, that she thought about, that I didn't even consider. I just considered her. I didn't think about what she wanted to leave behind.
mm.
So I'm just putting it out there. This is personal. Just take
No,
it
no,
personal.
I hear you. I'm just saying when that's presented to a child or a young adult, I think you're gonna get the same response across the board. Like none of them are they're gonna feel some kind of way about that. Like that
Yeah.
that because then if you go and talk to your friends about yeah, my parents told me to take out a life insurance policy on them, and you're just like at first that's weird, we're
That's right.
talking to your friends about that, and then it's just looked at kind of scummy. So
That's right.
no, I totally understand where you're coming from in that situation, and you're looking at it in hindsight. Of course, you want to take out the policy and
That's right.
do what is asked of you, but in that, go ahead.
No, just take that
Oh,
away from your kids. Take
yeah,
that away from them. Get it on yourself.
right. Yeah.
Get it on yourself.
So
Take that away from them. They won't have that stigma. They don't even have to worry about
yeah.
it. Take it out on yourself. Just don't let them know because they might
Just don't let them. Hey, you
they
might have
might bump you
problems.
off. They
Don't
might
let them know
bump
the
you
amount.
off.
Don't let them know the amount. Oh wait, we get
That's
six
right.
figures.
No,
Hold on,
no, no,
hold
no,
on.
no, no,
He said
no.
6 figures. Hold on.
That's right. Don't let them know. Don't let them know. Just have it, but don't let them know.
Oh, there was an accident. Oh.
That's right. Just in case. Hey, no need to tip nobody. Just take that off the table.
No, but this has been a very informative, formative podcast. That
That's right.
and Jay, I appreciate you being here once again. another week down. Is there anything you want to tell people before we head out?
Well, yeah. I just want to say about the money management. Uh, Money management. Don't don't spend your future away. Money management. When you manage your finances, it's for your future. When uh, you spend frivolously and you put that money out there and buy it on things, I just want to leave this note: you are spending your future away. I'm not saying don't spend, but what I'm saying is you definitely have to invest. You definitely need to know what's going out. You definitely need to cut your debt because your debt is taken away from your savings and everything else to invest. I just want to leave that note because the bottom line, money management, the foundation is money. If you don't have the money, you have nothing to manage. And I just want to leave with that and that, these young guys, they think they think tomorrow is promised to them, but which it is, and it should be. But hey, it doesn't beat the old school. And old school will be here to guide you through these little obstacles and get you on the other side. Just remember that.
All right. All right. Well, all right, everybody. We're out of here. We'll see y'all next week. This is Tack and Jay. We're out of here. Later.
Dropping the mic.